The History of the Second Calendar by Anonymous. Madam, to obey your commands, and to show you by what strange accident I became blind of the right eye, I must give you the account of my life. I was yet a youth when the Sultan, my father, for you must know I am a prince by birth, perceived that I was endowed with good natural ability and spared nothing proper for improving it. No sooner was I able to read, and 55 write, than I learned the Quran from beginning to end by heart, all the traditions collected from the mouth of our prophet, and the works of poets. I applied myself to geography, chronology, and to speak the Arabian language in its purity, not forgetting in the meantime all such exercises as were proper for a prince to understand. But one thing which I was fond of, and succeeded in, was penmanship. In this I surpassed all the celebrated scribes of our kingdom. The fame of my learning reached the Emperor of Hindustan, who sent an embassy with rich presents to my father and invited me to his court. I returned with the ambassador. We had been about a month on our journey when we saw in the distance an immense cloud of dust, and soon after we discovered 50 fierce horsemen, sons of the desert, well armed. Not being able to repel force by force, we told them we were the ambassadors of the Sultan of India, but the sons of the desert insolently answered, "Why do you wish us to respect the Sultan, your master? We are not his subjects, nor even within his realm." They attacked us on all sides. I defended myself as long as I could, but finding that I was wounded, and that the ambassador and all our attendants were overthrown, I took advantage of the remaining strength of my horse and escaped. My horse was wounded and suddenly fell dead under me. Alone, wounded, and a stranger, I bound up my own wound and walked on the rest of the day, and arrived at the foot of a mountain, where I perceived, as the sun set, a cave. I went in, and stayed there that night, 56 after I had eaten some fruits that I gathered by the way. I continued my journey for several successive days without finding any place of abode, but after a month's time I came to a large town, well inhabited. It was surrounded by several streams, so that it seemed to enjoy perpetual spring. My face, hands, and feet were black and sunburnt, and by my long journey my boots were quite worn out, so that I was forced to walk barefooted, and my clothes were all in rags. I entered the town to inform myself where I was, and addressed myself to a tailor that was at work in his shop. He made me sit down by him, and asked me who I was, from whence I came, and what had brought me thither. I did not conceal anything that had befallen me, nor made I any scruple to reveal to him my rank. The tailor listened to me with attention, then he brought me something to eat, and offered me an apartment at his house, which I accepted. Some days after my arrival, the tailor asked me if I knew anything by which I could acquire a livelihood. I told him that I was well versed in the science of laws, both human and divine, that I was a grammarian, a poet, and above all, that I wrote remarkably well. "None of these things will avail you here. If you will follow my advice," he added, "you will procure a short jacket, and as you are strong and in good health, you may go into the neighboring forest and cut wood for fuel. You may then go and expose it for sale in the market. By these means you will be enabled to wait till the cloud which hangs over you and obliges you to conceal your birth shall have blown over. I will furnish you with a cord and hatchet." 57. The next day the tailor brought me a rope, a hatchet, and a short jacket, and recommended me to some poor people who gained their bread after the same manner, that they might take me into their company. They conducted me to the wood, and the first day I brought in as much upon my head as procured me half a piece of gold of the money of that country, for though the wood was not far distant from the town, yet it was very scarce, by reason that few would be at the trouble of fetching it for themselves. I gained a good sum of money in a short time, and repaid my tailor what he had loaned me. I continued this way of living for a whole year. One day, having by chance penetrated farther into the wood than usual, I happened to light on a pleasant spot, where I began to cut. In pulling up the root of a tree, I espied an iron ring, fastened to a trapdoor of the same metal. I took away the earth that covered it, and having lifted it up, discovered a flight of stairs, which I descended with my axe in my hand. When I had reached the bottom, I found myself in a palace, which was as well lighted as if it had been above ground in the open air. I was going forward along a gallery supported by pillars of jasper, the base and capitals being of massy gold, when I saw a lady of a noble and graceful air, and extremely beautiful, coming toward me. I hastened to meet her, and as I was making a low obeisance, she asked me, "Are you a man or a genie?" "A man, madam," said I. "By what adventure," said she, fetching a deep sigh, "are you come hither? I have lived here for 25 years, and you are the first man I have beheld in that time." Her great beauty, and the sweetness and civility wherewith she received me, emboldened me to say, "Madam, before I satisfy your curiosity, give me leave to say that I am infinitely gratified with this unexpected meeting, which offers me an occasion of consolation in the midst of my affliction, and perhaps it may give me an opportunity of making you also more happy than you are." I then related my story to her from beginning to end. "Alas, Prince," she replied, sighing, "the most enchanting spots cannot afford delight when we are there against our will. But hear now my history. I am a princess, the daughter of a sultan, the king of the Ebony Island, to which the precious wood found in it has given its name. The king, my father, had chosen for my husband a prince, who was my cousin, but on the very night of the bridal festivities, in the midst of the rejoicings of the court, a genie took me away. I fainted with alarm, and when I recovered, I found myself in this place. I was long inconsolable, but time and necessity have reconciled me to see the genie. 25 years I have passed in this place, in which I have everything necessary for life and splendor. Every 10 days, continued the princess, the genie visits me. In the meantime, if I have any occasion for him, I have only to touch a talisman and he appears. It is now 4 days since he was here, and I have therefore to wait 6 days more before he again makes his 59 appearance. You therefore may remain 5 with me, if it be agreeable to you, in order to keep me company, and I will endeavor to regale and entertain you equal to your merit and dignity." The princess then conducted me to a bath, the most commodious and the most sumptuous imaginable, and when I came forth, instead of my own clothes, I found a costly robe, which I did not esteem so much for its richness as because it made me appear worthy to be in her company. We sat down on a sofa covered with rich tapestry, with cushions of the rarest Indian brocade, and some time after she covered a table with several dishes of delicate meats. We ate and passed the remaining part of the day, as also the evening, together very pleasantly. The next day I said to her, "Fair princess, you have been too long buried alive in this subterranean palace. Pray rise, follow me, and enjoy the light of day, of which you have been deprived so many years." "Prince," replied she with a smile, "if you out of 10 days will grant me 9, and resign the 10th to the genie, the light of day would be nothing to me." "Princess," said I, "the fear of the genie makes you speak thus. For my part, I regard him so little that I will break in pieces his talisman with the spell that is written about it. Let him come, and how brave or powerful he be, I will defy him." On saying this, I gave the talisman a kick with my foot and broke it in pieces. The talisman was no sooner broken than the whole palace shook, as if ready to fall to atoms, and the walls opened to afford a passage to the genie. I had no sooner felt the shock than, at the earnest request of the princess, I took to flight. Having hastily put on my own robe, I ascended the stairs leading to the forest and reached the town in safety. My landlord, the tailor, was very glad to see me. In my haste, however, I had left my hatchet and cord in the princess's chamber. Shortly after my return, while brooding over this loss and lamenting the cruel treatment to which the princess would be exposed, the tailor came in and said, "An old man, whom I do not know, brings your hatchet and cords and wishes to speak to you, for he will deliver them to none but yourself." At these words I changed color and fell a-trembling. While the tailor was asking me the reason, my chamber door opened, and the old man, having no patience to stay, appeared with my hatchet and cords. "I am a genie," said he, speaking to me, "a grandson of Eblis, 15 Prince of Genies. Is not this your hatchet, and are not these your cords?" After the genie had put these questions to me, he gave me no time to answer. He grasped me by the middle, dragged me out of the chamber, and mounting into the air, carried me up to the skies with extraordinary swiftness. He descended again in like manner to the earth, which on a sudden he caused to open with a stroke of his foot, when I found myself in the enchanted palace, before the fair princess of the Isle of Ebony. But alas, what a spectacle was there! I saw what pierced me to the heart. This poor princess was weltering in her blood, and lay 61 upon the ground, more like one dead than alive, with her cheeks bathed in tears. The genie, having loaded us both with many insults and reproaches, drew his scimitar, and declared that he would give life and liberty to either of us, who would with his scimitar cut off the head of the other. We both resolutely declined to purchase freedom at such a price, and asserted our choice to be to die rather in the presence of each other. "I see," said the genie, "that you both outbrave me, but both of you shall know by my treatment of you of what I am capable." At these words, the monster took up the scimitar and cut off one of her hands, which left her only so much life as to give me a token with the other that she bade me forever adieu, and then she died. I fainted at the sight. When I was come to myself again, I cried, "Strike, for I am ready to die, and await death as the greatest favor you can show me." But instead of killing me, he said, "Behold how genies revenge themselves on those who offend them. Thou art the least to blame, and I will content myself with transforming thee into a dog, ape, lion, or bird. Take thy choice of any of these. I will leave it to thyself." These words gave me some hopes of being able to appease him. "O genie," said I, "restrain your rage, and since you will not take away my life, pardon me freely, as a good dervish pardoned one who envied him." "And how was that?" said he. I answered as follows, 62.